Hi, hello and welcome. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is an exciting webinar where we are welcoming special guests, but more about that in a moment. We'll give you a couple moments to actually join. So hello to those of you tuning in from wherever you are. Good morning and good evening. It's a joy and pleasure to be with you all today, and you see that we have some guests as well. Feel free to say hello to us in the chat that you see on the bottom of your screen. It's always fun to see where people are joining from. So we have somebody from Vietnam saying hello. Hi, back to you. We have hi from Myanmar. Welcome, welcome. Of course, we have someone from Indonesia as well. It's wonderful to have you, and hello from Thailand. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you. Hi, good evening. Wonderful. So again, we will start in just a moment, and we will make official introductions, and we'll dive into our time together. But again, I wanted to remind everybody that today we are focusing on YSEALI Seeds for the Future application season. As you know, the application deadline is coming up very soon. So we are offering a series of webinars where we help you navigate the application process and prepare your application materials in the best way. So let's just dive in. Hi, everyone. Keep saying hello in the chat just to make sure that you can hear us and you can see everything. For those of you who just joined, welcome. And let's go into the presentation today. A quick reminder, we are using auto-generated captions today. So if you will see that some words are not captured quite exactly, please forgive us. We are using this feature just to add an additional accessibility. Hopefully in the future, the auto-generated captions will work better and better, and we'll be able to enjoy all the words correctly. But in the meantime, I'll try to speak slower, and we'll try to pronounce all the acronyms as much as I can. So thank you for your understanding on that. For those of you who just joined, welcome. Wanted to mention that today is the third and final webinar in our webinar series that are focused on helping you prepare your YSEALI Seeds for the Future application. We already had our first webinar, and you can watch the recording of that webinar on our YouTube channel at the link you see on the screen, or by simply going on the YSEALISeeds.org. This is our website, and you could also find the link to the webinars in the description on the website. So the first webinar was focusing on creating successful YSEALI Seeds application. And then in the second webinar, we talked specifically about pieces of your proposal, the theme and the budget of your proposal. And today is the most wonderful opportunity to actually hear from YSEALI Seeds grantees who have gone through this experience already. So we thought it's a great chance for you to come directly, ask questions, learn from them, get some secrets. Maybe they'll share some, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But then another reminder for all is, don't forget that the deadline to submit your YSEALI Seeds for the Future application is November 11th. Please do not wait until the very last day to submit. Generally, lots of things might happen. You know, the system might be overloaded. So we do recommend to have at least a day in advance as you submit your application, so nobody is stressing out about that. And we want you to be ready and prepared and proud of your work that you've done. If you still have some questions, you can email us. My colleague Jill, who is here on this webinar, and I will be answering questions in our email. It's YSEALI@culturalvistas.org, and we will show that email address in the last slide as well. And just a brief reminder for everybody for how the process is going to look like. And thank you, Jill just posted our email address in the chat as well for those of you who would like it or need it. You could also see on the screen right now the overall overview of the process for each specific YSEALI Seeds for the Future cycle. But again, some dates might change and fluctuate. So we want you to be prepared as you submit your application. Plan on starting officially your YSEALI Seeds journey sometime in February 2022. We typically start with a kickoff workshop. We still hope it might be able to be safe to do in person, but if not, it will be virtual. That one will happen in February or March 2022. And after that, we would love for you to plan on implementing your project between March and December 2022, with final report being submitted in January 2023. So it's an intense year of great work and joy, and so hopefully we'll hear more from our grantees today as they share about their highs and lows, of their journey. And I already see that some of you are submitting your questions in the chat. Thank you very much. So I would love to remind you that the chat would be to say hello and just let us know if any technical difficulties are there. And then there is also a Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. So the Q&A is the very easy way for us to monitor all questions as they come in, and we'll be able to answer them as they arrive. So if you do have questions for our speakers, make sure to type them in the Q&A box. And I do see a question from Izazi. I did see your email last night, but we'll reply to you specifically via email. So thank you for bringing that up. And back to our slides. Just wanted to show you a snapshot from our virtual kickoff workshop in 2021, welcoming a cohort of 2021 grantees. You see here us showing off our favorite snacks as we had a virtual snack exchange. That was fun. I wish we could taste the snacks too. And without further ado, I'm passing on this virtual microphone to my colleague, Jill, to kick us off in the conversation.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalia. So great. So we have amazing speakers today, and I'm so excited for today's webinar. So first, I would like to introduce them all. Today, we will have Mary Talia from Team Right Thing to See, and then we will have Mary Corin from Team Smile, and then we will have Khan from the Green Dots. And so I definitely would love to welcome them to the webinar. And so briefly, we just want to do a quick intro of each person and their team. So basically tell us where you're from, who you are, and what project do you represent. So first we will start with Mary Corin.
Hello, Jill. Thank you for that. Hi, Natalia. And of course, good evening to all our participants for tonight's webinar, all the way from the Philippines. And of course, good morning for our participants from America and to the rest of the parts of Asia. So I am Mary Corin Aquasa from Seeds for Mindanao's Advocacy on Youth and Leadership, or SMILE. So this is actually a youth peace building leadership program, which introduces the story of peace and conflict from one of the largest islands of the beautiful Philippines. So our project is to provide hybrid short course, which is geared into the development of different action agenda from our young peace builders. So the main aim of Project Seeds for Mindanao's Advocacy and Youth Leadership is to provide a support system to our young peace builders, particularly in the island of Mindanao. Thank you, Jill.
Great, thank you so much. I love your energy. Okay, so let's next have Khan.
Hello everyone, I'm Khan. I'm from Vietnam, and we are running the Green Dots. The Green Dots is a project that's focusing on urban gardening and circular economy. We want to raise awareness of citizens in the cities about those things through workshops, activities, community participations, and a lot of encouragement so people can start working on a small garden. That's what we hope to achieve in the project.
Great, thank you so much. And so last but not least, let's have Mary Tonya.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Talia. Selamat malam semuanya. I'm from Indonesia, and I am representing my team, Writing to Sea. And we are a bunch of Indonesian youth who loves the sea, and we are educating the locals who lives in the coastal areas and also in remote islands to learn more about the place where they live, which is the sea. And we introduce the terms ecosystem service, and our aim is to educate them on how to protect the marine ecosystem. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. And obviously, you will be able to also follow these projects as you go on our YSEALISeeds.org website, and you can scroll down and see all of the grantees. You'll be able to track all 3 wonderful projects that we are showcasing today, but also other projects that we are proud of supporting. And you'll be able to find their links to social media so you can stay up to date with their current developments. I do see that some questions are coming in the Q&A. Please keep them coming. We would love more questions from you, so we provide relevant information that is helpful to you. And as we're waiting for more questions, I just wanted to put one more question for our speakers today. So I would love to hear from you guys. How did you, what role did you have in your project? Were you a project leader, a project secretary, or a project treasurer? And overall, how did you divide responsibilities in the team? How did you come up with the team? How did you manage your team? If you could help us learn more about that. And whoever wants to grab that question, feel free.
Okay, I think I'm going to answer first. So I am the project leader for the Writing to Sea, and my main, the thing that I do the most is I would communicate with the YSEALI team, with Natalie, and then also I contact a lot of the volunteers and probably making sure that things went well, while the treasurer are more focused on the budgeting, on whether we should or not spend the money for things that maybe are not in the proposal because of the COVID pandemic. And also my secretary would focus on like reporting and doing the archives and anything that we need, any document that we need. But at the end of the day, we would definitely help each other and making sure that everything went well when the deadline is coming.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mary Talia. And then Corin, you also have your hand up.
Yes, I am actually the project treasurer of Seeds for Mindanos Advocacy and Youth Leadership. So as much as possible, we divide roles according to our expertise and its strengths, no? So aside from monitoring and tracking our expenses, I am also responsible for booking, purchasing, and even transporting items for our project. At the same time, I am also in charge of hosting our month-long short course. So our project leader in the person of Dr. Primitivo Ragandang III. He is in charge of, aside from being a project leader, he is also in charge of sending and responding emails and inviting key persons for our short course, and of course on monitoring. And of course, our secretary in the person of Mr. Carl Ane. He is responsible not only of taking down the minutes of our meeting, but also of the social media platforms, of the postings, updates of our different social media platforms, and of the layouts of our different materials. So as much as be very clear, no? And we have to look into these of our members.
So actually, the 2 guys already mentioned everything about how it's kind of basically how our team also work on, and I'm actually the leader of the Green Dots. So I'm working mostly on thinking about like coming up some new idea for the project, and then our team will start together, make it happen, and also more like a project coordinators that have to coordinate here and there. and other people in my team is a secretary and treasurer. They have their own thing, just like our team usually do. But I think one thing just can add to this, maybe you can have some other role as well, because for example, depends on the project. Like our thing is more about the technique of how to plant a garden. So we need someone who have expertise on those things, and you can have someone for the role as well. So there's just some sharing from the actual project, but I think the team always works together, and we know how everything goes, and that's how teamwork really works. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much for that answer. So I just want to get started into the questions on the chat. So someone is asking, could you tell us your experience adapting your projects to COVID-19? Were the projected impacts still achieved despite the odds somehow? Thank you, Biondi from Indonesia. And so I was wondering, Khan, can you give us a little bit of some of your experience with this question?
Yeah, I think that's a very nice question, because it's really like tackle the problem right now of the COVID. And we there's a short sharing. Actually, when I applied for YSEALI Seeds, in the proposal, we wanted to make a physical garden in the city center where people can come together, work on it, have the community participation. But then the COVID happened, and we cannot make it in person anymore. But then we have to direct the goal, like the result, into something else, and we make it into an illustration book. It sounds a little bit different, and like a huge difference between the two things, a garden and a book, but the same goals remain. That we try to make it with the most participation of the community possible. That the content of the book right now is coming from the community, where people have experience, they share that, and then all of the content will be illustrated by the local artists. So in that way, we kind of mobilize people from different backgrounds, and with the same goal, that raise awareness about urban gardening and circular economy, but it's just in a different shape. So that's how our project really do to adapt to the situation. But I think right now, we already know that the COVID may not go very soon. So in your proposal, maybe we include some COVID proof or something will be a plus for you to be selected. I don't know. I think so. Yeah, that's some of my sharing. Hope it's helped.
Yeah, no,
Like
thank you so much. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry for the
anyone
jail.
else? No,
Yes,
no problem.
in addendum to what Ken has shared, now I would like to share a trivia to everybody. This is a trivia from our project. Since the beginning of the project, we have not met yet in person. Would you believe that? We were able to implement a project without the presence of the other members of the team. But thanks to technology, thanks to the advancement that we are now making use or maximizing the use of technology. So despite the different restrictions brought about by COVID, especially in our country, Philippines, where there are so many lockdowns and there are unscheduled restrictions, checkpoints that you cannot travel from one place to the other because of the so many requirements from COVID swab tests and so on and so forth. So what we did is, again, we maximize the use of technology. So instead of coming in person to a very specific area to meet, to gather, to create, and to conduct our short course, we made use of Zoom, we made use of Google Meet and other platforms that could help us virtually meet up and project to be able to adapt to the different restrictions, especially that sometimes we are unaware of the limitation that may come our way. We should be planning as early as possible, even during the proposal stage. We have to have alternative solutions already, and we have to probably think ahead of what could be the possible limitations, what could be the possible challenges that may arise, and how the project or how the team can look into possible solutions to treat them. So be flexible, at the same time, again, be ready of alternatives. alternative solutions.
That's a wonderful way to mention that. Thank you, everyone. From myself, also would like to point out that it's very, very important for you to put in your proposal a tangible plan that will work, knowing that COVID might not go away in the next year. So what it is that you can propose to still achieve your goal with the ways that might not involve putting anybody in danger or waiting until COVID goes away. So very important, and thank you for sharing your experiences. I see another question came in, and Mary Talia would like to answer that. I see that you raised your hand there. So the question is, what were some of the measurable impacts of your project? Were they feasible, or would there be something you would have done differently?
Thank you, Natalia, for the question. For our team, we're actually, because we are educating these local people about how to protect the environment. It's some sort of like a green class, and we are so lucky that we got to finally meet in person once, and that's that. In that occasion, we make sure that every time there are classes with theories, we will give them quizzes and make sure that the children are able to answer. And for something that is more applicable, we also provide classes to plant mangrove seeds, because it's something that they can relate. We are giving them a way to protect the environment in a way that they can relate in their daily activities. So we kind of like educate them on how to identify the mangrove seeds that they can find everywhere in the place that they live, and we teach them on how to plant it. So they are able to do that. When we see that they are able to do that, that's how we measure that we succeed this thing in our proposal. And there are also several other things, and I think that is one of the example of it.
Beautiful. I see, Corinne, you also raised your hand. Did you wanted to answer that one?
Yes, I would like to add to the sharing of Miss Mary Talia. So about having some measurable impacts of our project. So I would like to share this one, that what we did in our project is something that is a ripple effect of what was given to us by YSEALI. Ripple effect in the sense that in our project, we were very specific that we wanted to train at least 30 participants coming from different organizations within or across Mindanao. And of course, after the short course program, these 10 organizations with 3 members each, that's why it's 30, would be able to propose an action agenda, something that they wanted to improve in the society, or something that they wanted to provide solution about a specific concern in the community where they are living at. So after the short course program, during the culminating day, we chose 5 different organizations, which we funded through the YCD fund, of course, so that there will be an implementation of their action agenda. So you see, there is a ripple effect, because right after the short course, these top 5 identified organizations were given the power to at least provide solutions, or at least treat the concern in the society or community by the funds that we are giving them. And of course, there is monitoring of the project as to if the project is a one-shot deal, or will it sustain depending on the need or depending on the nature of their action agenda. So aside from training 30, I believe we were able to meet 33. We exceeded our limit of 30, because there were overwhelming applicants. So aside from training 33 people, 33 different aspiring youths, in Mindanao, we are also planning to publish 200 peace building manuals, so that those who were not able to join our short course program, which is limited only in number, will have the opportunity to also read or be acquainted or be informed of what it is in a short course program that leads youth in peace building and leadership.
Wonderful. I also see that Mary Talia wanted to add a few points to that one as well.
Yeah, I think that's so great, the explanation that was given by Corin. I think for the ripple effect is very important. As a matter of fact, in our proposal, we kind of feature this training of trainers type of educational training. So when we were training the participant, we are telling them that we hope that this will continue, and we are also training the volunteers that are going to help us when we conduct the activity, so that it won't stop at the participant. And we were also using, because of these online activities, we are able to use a lot of documentation as our campaign for this, so that everyone around the world could also see that this is an important thing and you can do it in the place where you live too. I think the ripple effects. So
Great, thank you so much. So let me go to the next question. What are your plans to scale or sustain your projects after the YSEALI period? And Khan, did you want to go next?
Yeah. So actually, I think there is multiple ways to really sustain and like scale up the project after YSEALI. I think it's very great foundation. And what I think is work for us specifically is that we try to build a connection with people and partners and organizations right at that time. And then because right now we cannot build any garden, but then after the COVID, we can start like with that kind of partnership, we can start collaborate with them and start building small garden in school, in institution, in the campus somewhere. And that's how I think YSEALI help. And also maybe, for example, I was talking about the book we have illustrations from the local artists. We can use that because right now, when we have the grant, we are not allowed to do something like selling of stuff. But after this, with some of the piece of the art, we can sell some of them to raise funds for our organization to kind of sustain. That's how we do. But I think Corinne or other people can share more.
Great idea. Such a great idea. And then Corin, did you want to say something?
Yes, I would just like to share that I am very grateful to become a full-time faculty member of a community college in Mindanao. And it was just recently in 2017 wherein there was a revision of the curriculum of the higher education institution, where peace building course is embedded in the new curriculum. And we're done with a short course. And again, our main output in this project is to produce or publish 200 manuals. So I believe that manual can be used as a reference so that our students in higher education institutions would have a comprehensive view of what peace building looks like. And that can also be used as a reference for the institutions to come up with different projects or action agenda to look into their society's needs and concerns. And with that, I believe with the opportunity given by YSEALI to our project, it is but right that we sustain our project.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to add an important moment here in case if somebody might have missed it. As you are implementing your YSEALI Seeds project, you are receiving funds from YSEALI Seeds to run your project. So during that time, all of the services and activities that you do, they have to be free for your community and for the public to benefit from. What our guests are talking about is mostly looking into sustainability of their project after their official participation in the YSEALI Seeds is done, and they want to keep running their projects, keep bringing impact to their community, so it becomes a social enterprise. So there are different ways that the projects are looking for to sustain their operations, so they can keep bringing that impact. So it's just an important detail, just in case, because I do see some of those questions coming in, and thank you for asking those things. But during your YSEALI Seeds time, your services activities must be free. Thanks, everyone. Let's see, and just another reminder, you can upvote somebody else's question by putting a thumbs up on the question that you see in the Q&A. This also helps us see which question is the most relevant to you that you want to hear answer for, as we do have about 30 minutes or more left. Just wanted to make sure we address as many as we can. I see that next question Mary Talia wants to answer, and the question is, I was wondering, in your opinion, which one of the process application that took the most of your time to think of?
Okay, so I think we have to be very wise in uploading all this stuff, because these are the only tool that the YSEALI team got to know your project and got to imagine whether your team is able to do this project with the fund that's granted. But in my personal experience, I think the project description is definitely one of the most challenging, because we wanted to explain a lot of things, but we also have this limited 1,000 words, and we don't want it to over explain stuff that is not necessary. I think really take your time to write the important details, which part that you think it has to be explained more. And maybe my tip is probably ask someone who doesn't really understand anything about your project and whether they are able to understand what is it that you are going to propose. Because if other people couldn't really imagine anything, maybe the YSEALI team also have no clue what we are proposing, even when it's such a great idea. And I think the additional information and documents that can be uploaded is also a very great chance for we to show what the team is capable of and what the team is wanting to do, because that's really the one thing that distinct your team with other team, because who knows what they are writing in the description or abstract, but everyone is writing that. But this 5 slides or 5 pages, additional page, is your opportunity to showcase your authenticity. Thank you.
If there are no more takers, I'll just give you a second. And for me, also wanted to add that some proposals do stand out, just the way they are crafted, everything. People read the instructions and it shows if you have read the instructions, the rules, and that's another side. Your proposal could be great, but if we see that you're not following the rules on the application stage, what are the chances that you might not follow the rules later, right? So that's an important thing also to showcase, not just your proposal idea, but your diligence in doing what is asked, because it shows that, okay, if you're able and capable of doing what is asked of you in the application stage, you probably will be doing just fine during the implementation period. And that's very important, and something that we value in our applicants is just to assess how would it feel like for us to work with you for several months. Will you be submitting your reports on time? Will you be collaborating with us and others to make your project a success? Also important additional things that we look at. So hopefully that helps you. And just so you know, all 3 projects that you see today represented, those were the proposals that stood out to us. And I remember Mary Talia's proposal, for example, just so much care and creativity that she put even in crafting beautiful designs. They came up with the brand identity, and that was just so, that stood out, and that was very memorable for us, right? So think about, how do you come up with a project idea that stands out from like 600 applications, right? What else can you add to it so it is that much memorable, so it impacts the issue that you care about? You have the team, and then you also kind of have a vision for how you're going to accomplish it from start to finish. I see Corinne also has her hand up. Did you want to add something, Corinne?
Yes, thank you, Natalia. I would like to add that in crafting or conceptualizing our proposal, we have to remember to be SMART. So SMART is actually an acronym which stands for a specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, and time-bounded. So when you craft your proposal, you have to be very specific of what you wanted to happen in the entire implementation of the project. you have to be measurable. So how can your project be measured? Like how many participants do you intend to invite in your project? What do you want to produce after the implementation of your project? Then it should be attainable. Remember that the implementation of the project will run in more or less 1 year. So it should be attained within the specific period of time. Then result oriented. So what is it that you really wanted to accomplish at the end of the implementation of the project with the help of YSEALI? And finally, as what was mentioned by Natalia, it should be time bounded, no? Not only on the diligence on the submission of the report or the submission of the requirements, but also on the implementation of the project itself.
Great, thank you so much. So a next question that's come up on the chat is, have there been instances where the expenses of the project exceeded the YSEALI Seeds budget? Additional unforeseen expenses you sent in your application. How are you able to solve or overcome that? So Khan, did you want to start off?
Yeah, so I think it's I think that's something everyone who make the proposal worry about, that maybe there is something coming up and it's not expected. But I think that also go back to when we draft the budget plan, we need to be very specific. We should foresee, like try to foresee as much as possible what can happen. And that's not only help us to work on the projects better, but also balance the budget in the right budget that we have. I don't think that we're gonna get extra fund after your proposal accepted. So that's the only budget that you have to try to keep. So my advice is that when you do your budget, you need to be very specific, try to go as detailed as possible. So not only make your application more convincing, but also to make sure that in the future, when you implement that, you wouldn't encounter anything that's unexpected. Yeah, but maybe some other peer can add to that.
That's really great advice. I think that was on point, everything that you said. That was very important for everyone to hear. And so Corin, did you want to add?
Yes, Jill, I would just like to add that during the implementation of our short course program, there was an instance that we need to adjust our budget. No, so what our leader did, Dr. Prabiti Virgantang III, is that he openly communicated it with the YSEALI team and justified what is the adjustment is all about. So I believe if there are adjustments that were not foreseen ahead of time, all you have to do is to justify it, as long as you can justify it, and openly communicate it with the YSEALI team, because they're actually very approachable and open to advices or even to concerns that may arise during the implementation of the project. So maintain the open communication with the YSEALI team.
That's a good way to put it. Just wanted to add from our end is we understand that life happens and some unforeseen circumstances may come. So at this point, as you apply, focus on putting your energy and best effort into your application and crafting the budget to the best of your abilities. If you are selected, once you are selected, you will have a chance to revisit your budget. So before we approve it, before we send you your first transfer, you will still be able to take a look at your budget, because we understand there's going to be a few months between you submitting application and you being selected to run your projects. Some prices might change, some other things might change. So you will have a chance to revisit it and also consult with us on what's allowed, what's not allowed, what is possible, what is not. So it is workable and possible. So don't stress yourself out about that. Focus your energy on that application right now. All right, let's see. Any more takers on the budget question, or did we answer it fully? I did see that some people were asking about recording for the second webinar. You will be able to find that recording in our YouTube channel. So Jill, if you have the link to that channel, if you can post it in the chat. At the same time, you could also go on our website, and as you see right on the landing page, there is information about application, and there is also a hyperlink to actually get to the YouTube playlist where you can watch the recordings, and this specific recording will be also saved in the YouTube channel. At the same time, everybody who joined the webinar today, they will receive an automatic email from us with the recording as well. All right, we're back to our questions. Thank you for bringing so many very important and relevant questions for all. So this one is also related to funding. So and I see Khan wants to answer that. So the question is, did you get additional fund outside of the YSEALI Seeds that is supporting your project? How's your experience with that?
So I want to answer this because I see also some other similar questions below. So I think if you are allowed to have correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we are allowed to have other sponsors outside of YSEALI Seeds Trends. It's not just the fund, but also some other kind of sponsorship. So actually, we at the beginning we have some collaboration with the university, and we want to make a competition for people, for design students to design the garden. And so they not only help us to organize that, but they also bring in some fund so that it can cover the cost of the competition things, and it doesn't touch any of the YSEALI grants, so we can use that for some other thing. So my answer is that you can have sponsor outside of YSEALI, and I think YSEALI also encourage that because it's kind of strengthen the collaborations of organizations, local organizations. I think it's a great thing. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way. Sorry, I have too many to add from my end. Just want you to be successful in your applications, but here it goes. So think about it that way. Sometimes as you read the instructions for YSEALI Seeds budget, as you craft it, there are certain rules for what you can spend YSEALI Seeds funds on, and those things are, for example, sustained salaries. But if you envision that your project takes really a lot of work hours and labor, sometimes projects would apply for other grants or other funding, and so then they allocate some of those either salaries or equipment that are not allowed under YSEALI Seeds. They will allocate it under, as we call it, cost share or additional funding that they get from other sources or entities that don't have, this kind of restriction. So in that way, you have a holistic way of supporting your project. So it's just one of the ideas. You don't have to do it that way. Obviously, all projects are different, but this is just one of the ways for how you can use this additional funds. And we always happy to see that you're supported by other organizations and entities as well. Just let us know about it, making sure that the goals of YSEALI do not go completely in the opposite way from whatever organization is supporting you as well, right? So just open communication is the key here as well.
Great, so we have a question in the chat where it says, can you add 2 potential plans in your proposal, one for if COVID situation is resolved and one if it is not? So I believe Mary Talia wanted to answer this question.
Okay, for this question, maybe the YSEALI team can answer whether you can or cannot, but in my experience, we kind of mix our timeline so that we can do things offline and online. So every time, because we were proposing while the COVID situation is still happening, so we think that maybe or maybe not, so let's just mix it. Every time we have an offline activities, the next month we will have an online activities planned. We would monitor and follow up the activities, and also preparing for the next month offline activities, because the regulation would be very different. So that's what we were planning in our proposal. So every 1 month of offline thing, online activities will follow. Yeah.
I would also add from our administration sort of, and it's helpful if you do have your plan A and then plan B if plan A doesn't work out, right? So it's helpful, it's good, it helps us to see that you've thought it through, that you have this perseverance and you have dedication to your project and you want it to happen no matter what in a safe possible way without putting anybody in danger, but still pursuing your goal. So it's good to put it, but if you don't have it, you can just right away adjust your plan with sort of COVID restrictions in mind and just kind of run with that one. Really up to you. It just needs to be easily understood by us what it is that you propose to do. If your whole proposal includes travel from Vietnam to Indonesia and back and forth, and that's the entire success of the project is based on that activity, and there is nothing else added to remedy that, then it would be a bit questionable for us whether or not it's feasible. Will it be achieved? And knowing that COVID might not go away. This is just as an example, right? So if you do have a goal and that goal could be achieved through many different ways, many different directions or roads, right, that you can take to get to the goal. So you can just tell us this is one of the way, this is another way we can do it, but the goal stays still as our guiding principle. All right, let's see. More questions here. So I'll start another one. Let's see. Sorry, just making sure that I am seeing all the questions here. So the question is, how did you do the assessment? Is it after you decided the program or after? I'm not sure I fully understand this question. Do you mean assessment of like the impact, or just the assessment before you started, just to understand what the issue is so you come informed to run the project? If that's the case, then maybe our speakers would be able to speak on that. Did you have some certain assessment or knowledge of the issue, where the need is before you proposed your project? How did that work for you? How did you figure out that that's the pain point in your community and you need to address it and you have an idea to address it? If anybody has. Yeah, Corinne, go ahead.
In our case, our team was actually composed of a member from our previous group, which is a non-government organization. And even before the grant from YSEALI, we already have a lot of activities pertaining to peace building in Mindanao, because we believe that as the next or the future of the country, we have to make move of the conflict that is arising in our community, and we don't want other people, especially the young, to experience the same. So what we did is that, based on our experience, we gathered information on how to look into the problem and how to come up with a possible solution to at least if not erase the problem from the society, or in the society, help in controlling the problem in the society. So again, based from experience, we gathered all our experiences, and from there, we come up with our proposal.
Great. Did anyone else want to answer? Okay, well, we can go on to the next question. Someone's asking, how much time did you have to put into the project throughout the period? How did you balance it with other jobs, projects, if you have any? This is a very good question. Go ahead, Khan.
So I think, yeah, I think it's kind of a trend. You guys ask very great questions. I like it because actually that's something when we run the project, that's something we have to deal with as well. I have my full-time job, and it's kind of sometimes very crazy when we have events and stuff. So I think it's very important to have a team, that your companion, that your team who support you and align with your vision, and together work on it. So it will help a lot on balancing your project and your work. And I suggest that maybe you just can reserve some time for the project, a certain time of the week or something like that. So make it discipline so we can keep track on that, and it can be a little bit easier. Although I know that there will be something coming up unexpected and you have to spend extra time. And one thing I think you should always think about the good thing that you are doing, something that you are passionate about because you started that. So that's something kind of becomes a motivation for you all the time during the whole year. You will think, okay, that's the idea that I wanted to make it happen and now it's happening. So yeah, kind of something like that. Yeah, that's some of my sharing and I hope it's helped you.
Great, thank you so much. Does anyone, oh, there you go. Corin, definitely come and add.
If there's a will, there's a way. I would really love to make use of that, no? Your willingness and of course your commitment to the project will always give you the reason to come up with a project despite of the so many restrictions, especially with your time. In our case, all the members of our team are full-time employees. Two are faculty members, one is a layout artist, but despite the demand of our time, we really have to manage. We need to have, as what was mentioned by Khan, we have to have discipline because we are committed. In the proposal stage, we will not be making use of our time, we will not be exerting so much effort if we're not committed to do the project. And because we are very fortunate to be chosen out of the 600 applicants, then we really have to deal with it. We have to make time with it. Let me share this, no? Our project again has something to do with creating a short course and implementing a month-long short course. So what we did, because two of the members of the team are faculty members, so we try to look into the school calendar of the Philippines. In the school calendar of the Philippines, it is June and July that is summer. And during summer, most of the students are enjoying their break. There are no classes. So we intend to schedule our month-long course on July so that we will not be disturbing our students who are participants in the short course. So while we maximize our vacant time as teachers, we also make use of the students' time during the short course implementation.
Great, thank you. Mary Talia?
Yeah, for our team, when we were tired or having so many things to work on, apart from this project, we would definitely communicate. It's very important because we know that everyone also have their priority. So it's important to know that whether your friends need some help so that you can take over. And when you need help, they could also take over for you. And also to remember the people that are impacted by the project that you are doing, because a small gain is still a gain for them, especially because we're definitely helping those who are more unable to help in this case. So it's really important to remember them. Thank you.
Those are great answers. I would also add, we are fully aware that most of you will be running those projects while being full-time employees or students or having families. It's definitely understood that it's a huge undertaking, it's a huge responsibility. So we want you to be ready for that when you apply, right? So it shouldn't be a surprise. But at the same time, I do see this as a huge platform and opportunity for your professional development and growth. Just because it's a great thing to add on your resume, later on if you are seeking additional opportunities, employment or school or other scholarships or whatnot, having this experience as like leading a project of that scale and impacting your community is a wonderful way to add that value to your professional path. And in fact, we do have so many YSEALI Seeds alumni who are now recipients of really amazing scholarships. They went on to either study or get employed in the jobs that they really want to continue making impact, even on a larger scale. There are also other opportunities that often open up for YSEALI alumni. And as you complete your project, you will become an official YSEALI alumnus or alumna. So you will be also eligible for additional programs, opportunities, and things like that. So we do want you to benefit from that as well, as much as the community benefits from your skills too, but just wanted to add that. Okay, so we do have a few minutes left, and I know we still have quite a few questions, so we might stay behind just a couple more minutes if you guys don't mind to answer some of those. Please feel free to upvote your questions if you find relevant, so we'll grab it first. Question is, what do you think made your project proposal stand out from the rest? I know it's a tough question for the projects to answer, but if you guess, why do you think you were selected? If you have any thoughts on that, anybody who would like to grab that?
I can start and other one can add in. So I think our project was selected maybe to be stand out. First, I think about the proposal, try to make it look nice. Like people love something look good. So start with that. And with pictures and demonstration and something, make it very clear. And then I think about the idea of the project, maybe it's a little bit different from other project because we try to address something related to the gardening and agriculture and something like that. I think the topic is a little bit quite new. I don't know, but and we try and so that's kind of thing. So about the idea. So what I was saying is about the idea. There is multiple ways to make a project stand out. For example, it can be a kind of original idea, but we can implement it in a great way, or it can start with a great idea and and then it's already have a good start. So I think as like you have an idea, there's multiple ways to make it great and stand out. That's from my side, and I know that the others will have a lot of things to add.
That was a great point, Khan. I think your project was very unique. It was something that we have not seen before. So that proposal was, of course, memorable because it was a different way to address the issue that is very common and the issue that everybody care about. But your way to address it with like a community urban gardens was such an interesting way. And it was very well thought through, unique idea. So just to add what caught everybody's eye in your proposal. Mary Talia, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, for our team, I happen to study architecture in college, and I think we can also learn a bit about branding, how that proposal, even before the people read it, they can also already sense what theme you are going to tell them, what story. They can also already feel it and probably make it easy to read, but highlight the important things, because it's what help the reader to understand in short amount of time. And maybe you can use charts or tables to make it easier to understand the complicated data that you feel like it is important to be shown. Yeah, I think also add pictures that is representing your relationship with your stakeholders, your target, everything that help them understand what you're going through.
Yeah, Corinne, go ahead. You wanted to add something here too.
Yes, in our case, I believe what made our project stood out is because we looked into the relevance of the problem that we're trying to treat in our community. At the same time, we were creative in addressing the concern. As much as possible, we don't want to create a one-shot deal from the YSEALI project, but instead, we wanted to create an impact that even after the implementation, even after the funding of YSEALI, still we can work on the project with other people around us. So again, you have to look into the relevance of your project and be creative in the presentation of your project.
Great. These are really great answers. So as I'm looking at time, I don't know, Natalia, if you wanted to answer some questions or okay, great. So we'll definitely go into Natalia.
Let's do a couple more, yeah, and I'm trying to type in answers as well.
Okay, great. So I think there's, let me look at some other questions here. Okay, so actually I wanted to ask this question. What practical advice would you give to the applicants to help them strengthen their project proposal? Go ahead, Khan.
Sorry, I cannot find the raise hand button. So I think to answer this, I think we already mentioned about how to make the proposal look nice and easy to read. But I think the story behind is very important. Like we need to have a thorough plans. Like it's not about how we tell it; it's about how it is. So we need to really make it make sense, make the project make sense, how it's work, is it so from the background, justifications, and then we have the problem to address, we have the mission and the role, and then the action plan, which is need to be very detailed. The more specific it is, I think the more convincing it is to the people. And then how, very important thing is how we evaluate that. So we need to bring into the proposal the way that how you evaluate that your project is working good, well enough. So you need to make sure to put in the proposal. And then when the whole proposal makes sense, I think that is the main thing that makes your application stand out. That's my advice. Like really, I don't know, it's a little bit cliche, but I think it's what I really think it's for me when I make my proposal. Yeah.
That's wonderful and important. Sorry, just wanted to mention quickly, I see that people are leaving their email addresses in the chat. So unfortunately, everybody, we might not be able to save everyone's emails to send you the slides. So please email us instead and request the slides and materials. That would be the best way for us to actually share the information with you. Just wanted to add, but then go ahead. Sorry for interruption, Corinne.
As much as possible, I would like to advise everybody, as much as possible, quantify everything. Because if you quantify everything, you are very clear with your goal. And it is when you are very clear with your goal that there is a sense of contentment or satisfaction because you have a direction of what is to achieve at the end of the day. At the same time, as much as possible, try to integrate COVID restrictions in your proposal. Try to think of possible solutions or alternatives, plan A, plan B, probably, because as what was mentioned a while ago, COVID is already here and it might not go away, but instead we have to learn how to embrace COVID. Therefore, integrate COVID restrictions in the proposal as early as possible.
Wonderful, everybody. I still see 8 questions in here, so we'll try to type the answers to most of them, but then we'll grab a couple to answer with our voices as well. So the question is, how does the training of trainers work? Can we provide grant for the trainers to run the project? So I see 2 questions here actually, and so feel free, anybody from our guest speakers to also join. So you can, first of all, you can hire some trainers or speakers or consultants to support your project activities. For example, your project team is doing a workshop or a conference and you really want to, bring an expert in a certain field, you can definitely have some kind of fee that you will pay them for their services. Just should not be a salary, sustained salary from month to month. And it should be a reasonable amount that does not take like a larger portion of your entire budget, right? So it does not need to look like you're hiring somebody else to run your project, right? You are running your project, but you can still hire additional supplemental people to support with their knowledge base. So that's one. Another part of the question is train the trainer. So that's the term when you, the focus of your project is to select a specific group of people, equip them, train them, so then they can go in and implement different or train other people. So typically it works really well within the education theme when teachers would go through a great training or workshop provided by your project. So then they go on and either share this knowledge with other teachers in their school or community, or provide, the knowledge that they got to their students. So if anyone else has any more additions to that, I'm not sure that you guys actually have, except for maybe Project Smile, you guys might have that kind of model in mind. Yeah, so Corinne, go ahead.
In our case for Project Smile, before the short course, the month-long short course, we advertise. We posted a call for application in our different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, because we wanted to invite as many applicants as possible. And it is only through responding to that invitation that we can sense that they are really interested to join the short course. After which we tried to filter it out because there were so many applicants, there were overwhelming number of applicants, and we crafted a module, because they have to be guided of the schedule of what are expected of them to do or accomplish after a specific period of time. So we crafted, we made, and of course we have given them copies of module. And also we identified key persons as our speakers. We are very fortunate to have Dr. Primitivo Ragandang III, because he actually has so many connections to different professionals who were very good in sharing their expertise during the short course. So as what I have mentioned, as much as possible, when you do the training for trainers, you have to think first of a technique or strategy to call for interested applicants, because it might be that you are tapping people who are not interested and they might just be joining the workshop for one day or for the first day, and they will not be present anymore during the succeeding days. And also make use, maximize your connection or linkages, make use of professionals who are experts in the field of the workshop that is being implemented. And in our case, there was no salary, but instead we made use of honorarium or token. And we're also very grateful that there are some speakers who are very generous with their time and space, that they did not expect any honorarium at all. They have given their service for free.
Wonderful. Those are great. Great answers for sure. Jill, did you want to grab another question?
Yes, I was going to grab another question. There's a question here that asks about conflict, and it says, did there ever been something like a stuck up communication with a member halfway during the project? And I'm assuming, how was that handled? Did anybody ever have that question? And is there were they suspended from the committee? Thanks.
I think that kind of things that happen all the time, and it's I don't say that we should think that normal, but it's the way that we improve the project, because when we have conflict, that means there is something wrong and we need to adjust to address that and improve the project. I think when we have conversation that way, our project become better. So I think it's happened, and what we have to do is to really sit down and together figure it out. There is, at some point, maybe we cannot come to an agreement, but maybe we can come up with some new idea. That's how our team usually happen. But one thing is we try to make everything in the right manner, so people still have motivation with the project, because if we say something kind of hurtful, like hurt other people, that's the one who go with you in the whole project. You can be alone if they leave you. So I think it's important, and it's a skill that we should have when we're running a project and in any other thing as well.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else want to add if there was like conflict, or how they addressed or resolved the problem within their teams?
I'd like to add more. Maybe we have experience and some issues with our stakeholders, so our targeted people and maybe the people that are helping us. I think it's very important to also appoint the person who is suitable in communicating with these people, because sometimes when you interact with the local community, maybe you got very emotional, and yeah, it's really exhilarate things that are not really that big. So it's very important to have that person who communicate well, the PR and chief of PR maybe, who are can take things subjectively. It's a good thing.
Thank you. That's very important. So obviously we understand as leaders, you're learning not only to run your projects, but also to address different issues and conflicts that might come up. You can always reach out to us as well for any additional support or just to brainstorm any possible solutions. And that's a great thing to think about as you apply for your YSEALI Seeds projects. But again, just want to remind you all, focus your energy on the application and proposal, because first things come first, right? So I do see some questions coming up that you guys, some of you are sending email to us. It takes us a while. It's just Jill and I together monitoring the inbox. And as you might imagine, there are lots of questions coming in. So thank you for your patience. And if you have not received a reply from us, and if you have sent an email about 2 days ago or so, please send it again. We will definitely address all the questions that come up. And sometimes emails get lost. So if you don't hear the first time, please feel free to send your email again to our email address. Also would like to ask you all, since we are not able to capture all of the emails that you guys provide in the chat, it's best if you send the email to us requesting your slides or any questions, and that would be the way for us to answer, okay? So another one was a question about, YSEALI membership, that some people experience difficulty with getting your YSEALI membership. So please don't worry. So we received some information from YSEALI team that you may still submit your request to become a member, but you might not receive a confirmation right away. So as long as you sort of apply for YSEALI Seeds, we will be able to add you into YSEALI membership. Or even if you register for this webinar, we will also try to see if YSEALI team can add you to YSEALI members. So just kind of putting it out there, if you have trouble with that and you're worried about it, email us. But other than that, I would say that they're working on fixing the situation. So you should be able to get your confirmation sometime later. But in the meantime, please go ahead and apply still, okay? All right, so, and then there was another question, and thank you for those who are staying behind. You don't have to stay longer if you need to jump off the call. That's fine, and we don't totally understand. I just still see the 4 questions and really want to answer those. Just quickly to address one here, how to allocate YSEALI Seeds for the future grant to projects, so how the funds are allocated to selected projects, based on potential projects or based on the country? Very good question. So we are selecting at least one project from every YSEALI country. So it is one project selected from each of the 11 countries, that is for sure. And then we also look at the population density and the amount of applications submitted from each country. And that helps us determine how many more additional projects could be selected from a particular country. As you might imagine, we have most of the submissions from Indonesia, and that's the most densely populated country in the YSEALI region as well. So typically Indonesia would get a few more additional spots for selected projects, same for the Philippines and for Vietnam, for example. And then some of the countries that are much smaller and we don't get as many applications would get 1 spot or sometimes 2 spots. Again, that also depends on the funding that we have available to fund all projects. And this is to say you don't have to request all $15,000 that you can request. If your project requires only $5,000 to get a successful goal, right, you can apply just for $5,000. You don't need to request, the entire amount. It's optional if you need it. So I hope we answered that one. And let's see, anybody else wants to grab one of those 3 questions left here? So how about this one? Could you share with us some of your strategies to ensure your project becomes sustainable and scalable on its own without the grant moving forward? If anybody has ideas, I think Khan touched on that early on, right? So unless you guys have anything else to add, we can move on, and you can rewatch the beginning of this webinar where we address the sustainability part. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see if you have anything specific to the speakers. We will address just one more question, but if not, we will be wrapping up our time together. I'm just trying to get this question we have. Just give me a moment. So, okay, let's just do this one. The question on behalf of my team is how to best manage time and resources for full-time employee. Apart from time management, we are curious to know how previous grantees had managed their resources and available funds. I'm raising this question as after calculation of project costs, there is little cost coverage for people who plan to commit to the execution of activities. It's much more than exploration, firsthand experience. Thank you. So basically, the premise of the question is, how do you manage, the time if the project requires so much time to run? How do you address it with your team? And it looks like people say that, okay, in return, you don't earn profit, I guess, from the project as much as you hope to. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody has anything to add to answer that. Corinne, yeah, go ahead.
All the members of Team Smile are full-time employees. 2 are faculty members. 1 is a layout artist. So what we did, we communicate regularly through our messenger. We actually created a group chat for the 3 of us. And what we did is after office hours, when there is a need for us to come up with a virtual meetup, we will be conducting the meetup like 7 in the evening or 8 in the evening, making sure that we do not interrupt our office hours. And also when there is a need for us to conduct the workshop or seminar like 3 or 4 hours, then we try to schedule it on weekends so that it will not again intervene with our regular office hours. So as much as possible, the challenge about time management will be resolved if there is open communication among the members of the team. You just have to agree. You just have to come up with a consensus on when is your available time. At the same time, you have also to respect each other's time. So when we say that the meeting will start at 8 in the evening, we make sure that we're already in the platform as early as 7:45 or 7:50, that nobody's late, because again, we have to respect time. We have to respect each other's time because we know that there are so many things that we have to attend to, like our family, our work, and thus we have to be very conscious with how we spend each other's time.
Good
And
point.
for the,
Go ahead,
sorry, and for the funding, we try to stick with our budget because during the proposal, we already allocated the budget, and as much as possible during the implementation, we really try to stick onto the budget. If there are some adjustments, as what I have mentioned a while ago, just communicate it openly and justify to the YSEALI team because they will understand, they will grant it, they will approve it if they can understand it. But then again, always stick to the budget.
Mary Talia, did you have other points to add?
Okay, so it's also very important when we are creating our proposal that we need to propose something that are feasible, that is realistic, so that if you think that your project is so complicated to be done in a year with the manpower that you have, maybe you would simplify the proposal. And if there are several occasions in which we would probably need extra help more than the manpower that we have, for example, our team only have 5 members, we would open recruit the volunteers for that specific occasion so that we got extra help. And maybe in our case, we don't we don't grant them any money, but we make sure that their transportation is covered. Because we are doing offline activities, we make sure that they are paid to do the COVID test and like give them meal and the place to sleep, like sort of things like that. So I think it would help to open recruit for volunteers.
That's a very beautiful way to put it. I just want to remind everybody that YSEALI Seeds for the Future grants competition, it's not an investment sort of fund competition, right? So there are other programs and projects out there if you're looking to support your existing business, for example, and generate some revenue in the future. This might not be the program for you. YSEALI Seeds for the Future is the program that supports local initiatives where young leaders could apply their skills, their knowledge, their passion to create a project to benefit the community. So it is assumed that there is going to be some sacrifice of your personal time, maybe you will be learning through that experience, and we hope that the return of that sacrifice is much greater, not only in seeing the impact in the community as a result of your project, but also for you personally as a leader who grew to learn how to manage team, how to manage resources, how to manage funder relationship and stakeholder relationship, something like I said that you can put in your resume or be compatible enough to compete for other either competitions or other opportunities in the future. And as Mary Talia also mentioned, there are other ways to provide incentives for your team members, not only dividing responsibilities, but also some interns or additional volunteers you will hire for your project. They might be just excited to have an opportunity to be together and do meaningful work if you cover their expenses, and they get to meet together in a different place that is their home. So they explore new places, new locations, do impactful, meaningful work, and grow their skills too. So basically, this is just to say that you are allowed to provide like a small fee or cover somebody's expenses on the team as they are doing the work. So it's not expected that you use your funds to cover, your travel every time you travel for your project. So again, this is just another addition to our conversation here, and we have addressed some of it in the beginning of the webinar, so feel free to rewatch it again. And I would like to thank our speakers. I would like to thank all of our participants. We had more than 150 people at some point today. It's lovely to have you all, and thank you for all the important questions. Definitely feel free to follow Project Smile, Project Right Thing to See, and Project the Green Dots on their social media, and follow up with them. Also follow up with us via email that you see on your screen, and I will also pronounce it. So it's YSEALI, YSEALI at culturalvistas.org. So send us an email if you have additional questions, if you're not able to address it at this time. And we wish you all the luck with your application. Please submit your wonderful proposals. We are excited to work with you. We're excited to welcome you in our YSEALI Seeds cohort in 2022. And I will just give a chance for everybody to say goodbye with their voice before we wrap up.
Thank you for having this session. I think it's very useful for me last year. So I think I hope this helps everyone, and also good luck with your application. Good luck. I hope I can see a lot of new projects in social media and something. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Han.
I would like to wish good luck and of course the best of the best to all our hopefuls. Being in the YSEALI is really a life-changing opportunity. You get to meet a lot of good people. You get to connect with a lot of experts who can help you in different ways. And with that, I wish you all the best. Mabuhay from the Philippines.
Yeah, I remember watching one of these videos last year as I about to write my proposal. So I hope you guys could write the most amazing proposal, and I wish to see you guys next year doing your project. Good luck.
Yes, good luck, everyone. And thank you so much to our speakers. I'm sure it was really helpful to hear your experiences, and I'm sure it will help everyone have a better perspective on how they're going to fill out their proposals. So thank you so much.
Have a good night and a good rest of your day, everyone. We'll see you at some point on the internet. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.